So welcome back to our bereavement self-care class, part 2. So we left off and talked about the 5 stages. So again, like these emotions fluctuate over, it could be over the day, even the day, the week, or even a month. So it's like everyone kind of goes through these emotions. So learning, and it's just, it helps, like, it's part of the framework to help make up learning to live without the one we lost. Now, just like how we are learning to kind of develop a new routine just for now, because we know eventually we will go back to program, but just learning to accept, or even just to figure out those emotions that we're having with not having program right now. There are tools to help us frame and identify what we may be feeling, but these are not stops or some linear timeline in grief. Not everyone goes through them all of them, or goes in as prescribed. Like some people, they will probably maybe experience anger and then go through acceptance, or even go through like depression or sadness and then be fine with it. So it's just everyone is different in their emotions. So another closer look in the meaning of grief. So grief is a healing process. So many people in our society don't allow themselves to truly grieve because they think that crying uncontrollably is undignified or a sign of moral weakness. So we think we want to avoid the grief, but really it is the pain of the loss that we want to avoid. So grief is the healing process that ultimately brings us comfort in our pain. The pain and our love are forever connected. So even though that person, or even the program that we're not at right now, even though they're not with us, we still have that pain and that love forever of that connection. Like we still have memories of our time together. And even though it's like we will eventually go back to program, we still have that pain, and we still remember how we loved going there and connecting with people. To avoid the pain of loss would be to avoid the love and the life we shared. So grief can be an isolating process. So healing grief is often an overwhelming, lonely experience. We do not have any real framework to help us recover from the loss of a loved one, either from death or someone retiring or moving on to another employment, or we just don't see each other that much anymore, and it just disrupts our routine. We do not think we have the tools to overcome the feelings that devastate us. So our friends don't know what to say or how to help. As a result, during the days following a loss, we wonder if we can survive. As time passes, the fear gives way to anger, sadness, isolation, even feelings that assault us one after another. So simply being together and sharing stories about the person that we loved, practicing, if someone has died, like practicing the funeral rituals, even help us feel connected to others while we grieve. Even like if we feel like kind of isolated and lonely right now because we're not seeing all our friends, maybe just try connecting them through either phone numbers, or even through emails. There's just like so many ways, especially with technology right now. There's so many ways to connect. So just kind of getting connected that way. Grief can be a transformative process. So we have, again, like on one side, grief can be isolating and lonely experience, but it also can be transformative too. Meaning that it kind of like helps us to grow and like transform. We can allow grief to destroy us, or we can use our grief to transform ourselves into better human beings. In the face of grief, we can choose to become more kind, more thoughtful, and more grateful for the little things in life. You can choose to make the process more meaningful. In our worst, we have the power to find some thread of hope. In grief, just like in death, there is a transformation for the living. If you do not take the time to grieve, you cannot find a future in which loss is remembered. So we'll stop there for now, and we'll continue on in part 3.